What is up, Internet? Welcome back to Milehighkei, America's fastest growing K-car channel. We just recently passed 550 subscribers. It's not a lot, but thank you so much for your support, and we'll keep on putting out some great K-car content. This was actually recorded in July, and I just checked, and we've actually passed 630 subscribers. So thank you so much. Let's get to 660 subscribers, then 1,000, and keep on moving up. Now, back to the video. Today, in the garage, I have a new setup up here with my workbench, and we're going to be doing some reassembly on the E07A. If you've been keeping up, I bought this off of the internet. It is out of a Honda Beat. This is the same engine that is in the van, but this one is fuel injected and it has individual throttle bodies, and I have a little turbo that I made a manifold for over there. What I'm going to be doing is cleaning out the oil pump and the rear main seal and putting that all together so I can put the upper oil pan and the lower oil pan on there. As soon as I get this mounted up, I'll be able to tighten down the oil return bung, and then after all that, I'm going to be doing some work on the head. This was ported out by All Motor Fong, and what I'm going to be doing is taking out the exhaust valve springs and putting in a set of intake valve springs on the exhaust side. Just will get a little bit more flow out of the exhaust side with some upgraded springs. And here are all of the replacement seals. This is the camshaft seal, this is the front seal, and the big one in the back is the rear main seal. Here is the rear main seal plate. So I need to clean up this, the oil pump, as well as the oil pickup, and then I'll be able to get going on reassembling the engine. Alright, the first thing we're going to start off with is the rear main seal. This is just exactly how it was when I removed it off of the engine. I placed them all into Ziploc bags so that none of the parts would get mixed up. Alright, so there's the old rear main seal. It's a lot of brake clean. Cleaning oomph. There's the old front oil seal. So I'm most of the way done cleaning off the oil pump. I am going to take a wire wheel to this outside of the housing just to clean it up a little bit. But I did realize halfway through that I am missing this little O-ring right here.
A few moments later.
So I realize it's not very interesting to watch some dude clean car parts in his garage, so I'm just going to give you some updates here and there as I get everything cleaned up. Here's the oil pump. It looks really great. I was able to get a lot of the just grime buildup and just a little bit of surface corrosion taken care of. There are little sections like deep down in there that I couldn't get to, but I didn't want to get the wire wheel around there so that the seal will be able to do its job, but just need to spray this off with some more brake cleaner, and then I need to scrape off all the old gasket on the back. I am waiting for the O-ring and the oil pickup gasket to come in. Something really interesting is that this is the same part number for a D16, so both the oil ring and the oil pickup tube. Part numbers are exactly the same. So I'm gonna put this off to the side, and we'll update you a little later on when I get the parts out of the carburetor parts cleaner.
One eternity later.
All right, it's been a week since I last updated. Had to wait on this O-ring as well as this little gasket to come in the mail. So now I'm ready to install the oil pump onto the front of the engine as well as the rear main seal onto the back. Just need to put a little bit of gray gasket maker, RTB, whatever you want to call it, on the inside edges of the front and back covers, and then slap them onto the engine. And then we'll be able to put the oil pan on as soon as all of that's installed, because the oil pan actually connects to the front and back covers to complete the seal. So I'm gonna get to that and make some progress. So here's the new front oil seal. It does say it's for an HA4 ACTI, but it's an EO7A, so it should work. I wanted to wait until after I got the oil pump on to put this new seal on, and I'm gonna do the same for the rear main seal. So I'm gonna take out the new seal and press it in. Okay, so I had to sort of improvise. Best solution would be to use a deep 32 mil socket, because it would fit perfectly over and be able to hammer in the seal easily. But since it's not deep enough, the actual crankshaft is getting in the way, so you can't seat the seal properly. So what I did is I just held the old seal around it, and then I used this screwdriver and just made my way around and tapped it in.
Sort of like that, until it's all the way sealed.
So that way the screwdriver butts up against the old seal that you're going to be throwing away, and it just nicely seats the new one. Now that that's on there, gonna turn the engine around right now. So now I'm gonna be putting on the rear main seal cover, and then after this has been installed, then I will repeat the same process on the front, use the old seal and the mallet and tap it on in there. The front and rear covers are all 10mm bolts. I am going to put the oil pan on, but I'm not going to gasket it in quite yet, just in case I need to take it off for whatever reason. Okay, so here's the new rear main seal, and this one's a little easier because you can pretty much just use the old one to hammer in the new one. All right, we got the rear main seal all seated correctly. And then here on the other side, we have the front oil pump seal on there. The pickup tube has its gasket. These are tightened down. Don't forget this 10mm holding up the oil pickup. And now we can test fit the oil pan, I'm going to take off the lower oil pan cover, and then we'll just be able to see how that all looks together, and it'll start looking a little bit more like an engine. There's 16 10mm bolts holding on the main part of the oil pan. 3 of them are inside of the lower oil pan cover where the oil pickup is. So you just have to have this off so you can access these 3. There's also one that goes in right here that's nearest to the rear main seal on the oil filter side. It's just kind of hard to find. If you're worried about missing one and not being able to get it off, that's probably where it is. And 2 other interesting bolts go right here that are directly near the rear main seal, and they have these little rubber sleeves that slide in here so you can access them. You put these on before you attach the transmissions so this whole side seals, and then you can take them out if you ever remove the transmission to access these 2 bolts. This doesn't really matter right now because I'm going to be taking the lower oil pan cover off, but I made sure to tighten the oil drain fitting before I seal it up. I just have better leverage while it's on the actual engine to get a look of what it's like. And there you have it, a fully assembled, however temporary, bottom end for an E07A out of a Honda Beat. I specify all the time that this is out of a Honda Beat because if it was out of an Acti, the oil pan is different and the camshaft is different. So on the Acti, the oil pan is one piece and it doesn't have this lower cover. So that's pretty cool. Now I'll be able to put this on the engine stand. After I'm done working on the Datsun engine, then we can slap the head on it and be one step closer to getting this thing all put back together.
Many months later.
What is up, Internet? It's been a long time since we left off working on the bottom end of the E07A out of the Honda Beat, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of work on the head. So where we left off last, I was buttoning up the bottom end of the E07A. I did the oil pump on the front and the rear main seal on the back, and I didn't feel like it was too exciting because, in all honesty, it's not very exciting to watch somebody clean some parts, but we're going to be doing some more cleaning of parts and doing some work on the head over here. If you don't know, the E07A has 4 valves per cylinder for a total of 12 valves. And what I'm going to be doing is taking out the intake valves, replacing them with brand new intake valve springs, taking them out and doing a little bit of a lap job just to make sure that the seal is all nice on all of the valves, and taking the old intake valve springs and putting them on the exhaust side. I've already taken out the first valve spring over here just to make sure that I know how to do it, and I am using this tool over here to compress the springs, but just the way that the head is designed, this end of the tool can't really rest on the top of the valve spring very well. So what I did is that I cut this little piece of PVC tubing to put on here to fit underneath this side of the tool. to be able to compress it well as to have an access hole in order to install and deinstall the keepers in there. It's probably going to be a lot of time lapses right here, but it'll be able to round off this video and just get going and finish this whole project up, because I'm really excited to get this engine on the engine stand and put this engine back in the Datsun so I can just start shifting everything around and stay productive. Now that I got the intake valves lapped, it's just a reversal of the process to put the new springs on. So you need to put the springs on, put the little tops on, compress the springs, and then you can put the keepers back in, and just repeat it for the exhaust side. And these are the springs that came off of the intake side. So these springs will come off. These ones will go on the intake side, and then the old intake ones go on the exhaust side. And it's the same process, so I'm not going to bore you with that. I'm just going to cut to when the head is all put together. Alright, it's a little hard to tell, but it's all done, all cleaned out. So these are the new exhaust valve springs and the new intake valve springs. And now the next step is to put the cam in and put the whole valve train back together, and then we're waiting on a new head gasket in order to slap it onto the engine. But it's a little dark right now, so it's getting late, so I'm going to put this off until tomorrow or maybe another day after that. Who knows? What is up, Internet? I'm back in the garage. The head for the EO7A is still on the bench. I haven't gotten around to working on it. It's been super busy at work. The engine is on the stand over here, and I have a couple new projects that we're going to be getting to eventually. This one, that one, and this little guy. So be sure to stick around for that, and subscribe if you want to see more tiny Japanese car motorized stuff. But I'm going to end off this video with something special from the Datsun. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and remember, keep it small.